I'm still going along here. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, sorry about that. Let's go with the retirement income. All right, so I was talking before the break about different risks in that, and then talking about the way, just before the break, talking about income and how that's going to apply to you. All right, so let's think about it. Pensions have becoming more and more a thing of the past, but here, this pie chart is just to show you different sources of income. One of them, of course, being Social Security, and this is kind of a foundation for many in terms of the income that's going to be provided for that. Other sources would be, of course, your retirement accounts, which we're talking about, and pensions. Now, pensions are becoming less so, but this was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and more. Pensions were a much bigger part for many people of the money they were going to have in retirement. So pensions, Social Security, and retirement accounts typically were much smaller then because they hadn't been around since but the 80s, as far as when they first came into being. So people didn't have typically the large balances that we see today, when we see many people with retirement accounts that are in millions of dollars even. So when it comes to planning, this means that's different as well. So in fact, let's look at this next chart, and you can see this shift that we saw with the largest, the Fortune 500 companies that offer pensions continuing to decline. So if we look at the next slide, this is pensions are gone, right? And we see how it's dwindling. It's down now to less than 20% of people in the workforce today typically are going to have a pension. So knowing that the pension income is going away, we've become more and more reliant then on our retirement accounts. So in the next slide, qualified money versus non-qualified money. This is understanding what these mean. So qualified money is more valuable than non-qualified money, right? That's why you're limited to annual IRA or 401k contributions, because you're getting a tax deferral. So most of us, in fact, are going to need that qualified money, the money that we've been able to put into our 401ks, our IRAs, SEP IRAs, 403b, all these different retirement accounts, right? TSP, Thrift Savings Plan, for you federal employees and military out there. And I work a lot with TSP, with Thrift Savings Plan, with federal employees. I have a number of clients that fit into that have TSP. And it's one of my, and for those that are saving for retirement, TSP is probably one of the better 401ks out there. 401k type plans out there. It's got some unique benefits. It uses index funds, and indexing is, the 60 years now of Nobel Prize winning academic research showing us that indexing is the way to go, and then how even to do that, how to utilize those strategies. So this is an important part. Indexing in and of itself, though preferential, as I mentioned, the S&P 500 index, right? That index fund outperforms 90% of mutual funds. However, it's very volatile. So then we blend together other indices, index funds, to help reduce that volatility. And again, we have the academic research showing us how to do that. And if you're not familiar with that, then again, get with someone that does that type of investing. I'm not going to jump off too far here, but just understanding the differences in investment strategies, your investment philosophies, and what the research out there available to you can show you how to do these things, all right? Or at least point out why one is superior to the other, and then get with a good advisor that can help you not only with your asset allocation, utilizing these different indices, but also utilizing other strategies that can help boost your returns while minimizing your risk. So there are a number of things there that we'll talk about later. All right. So most of us going to need that. We're going to need money from our retirement accounts in retirement. Maybe you'll have other sources of income, like rental properties as an example, or maybe you're going to continue to work in retirement. But when it comes to one of your big sources of income, it's likely your retirement accounts. So let's look at common questions that baby boomers have about their IRAs. And this includes, can you still contribute to a retirement account? I get asked this one quite a bit. When you stop working and you have no longer earned income, all right, then you're no longer able to contribute to a retirement account. Now, having said that, there are a couple other rules that come in. Let's say you continue to work, whether full-time or part-time, and you want to put money into a retirement account, you can continue to do so up to age 70. And at age 70 and a half, when you start taking required minimum distributions, you can no longer contribute to a traditional 401k or IRA. You would be able to contribute to a Roth if you have earned income even past that. And then we get into also conversions. So if you're looking at doing, even though you can't contribute to a Roth, if you're retired and you no longer have earned income, you can no longer contribute to a Roth. However, you could conceivably still do Roth conversions, which can help you still accomplish certain goals there in terms of minimizing taxes over your lifetime. So what type of retirement account, which brings it up, right? Another question, what type of retirement account is right for you? And this is whether, if you're a boomer and you're still working and you're considering, do I put it into a Roth or a traditional 401k, a Roth or traditional IRA, a Roth or traditional SEP IRA, all these different options, Roth or a traditional TSP account. You have all these different choices, and there's not just a set answer for this, okay? There are certain qualifiers that would go into determining what is right for you. Again, I would strongly recommend, this isn't a do-it-yourself show here. I'm not trying to share these things with you for the purpose of you being able to do it yourself, because there are too many exceptions to rules. There are too many gotchas out there that if you take what I say and just applied it and not knowing the impact, how it could affect other things, and making sure that you do it correctly, it could backfire. So again, I say this because I want you to understand these things, but also so that you'll seek good advice, get with a good advisor that can help you, that knows how these things work, and can make sure you avoid these pitfalls and can get you in the right plan for you. So again, when it comes to what type of retirement account is right for you, it depends on so many factors. What your tax bracket currently is, if you're in a 12% bracket, for instance, right now for a married couple, that would be somewhere between $100,000 and $105,000 up to there for your AGI, your adjusted gross income. If you're making up to that amount, then probably a Roth is going to make more sense than traditional, because you're only paying 12% tax on the money, and it's likely that your tax rate later would be higher. Certainly less, it's not likely to be lower. In fact, in about 5 years, with the sunset provisions of the current tax code, that 12% bracket is going to go up to 15%. So you're going to have a 25% increase in your tax rate, basically, in just 5 years. So that's an example of understanding the implications of these things. Now, if you're up in a 22% bracket, and you're paying that, putting money rather into a 401k could bring you down into the 12, then that might, make more sense. And then maybe after you're down in the 12, then doing some Roth. So again, there's not a set answer for what is the best type of retirement account for you, but we can arrive there with a good analysis of which it is. When do I need to take withdrawals, and how much do I have to take? And this is understanding those rules. If you take money out prior to 59 and a half, you have a 10% tax penalty. If you do not take money out after 70 and a half, right, your required minimum distributions, once you hit 70 and a half, there is a 50% penalty. So understanding now does that mean that there are exceptions? There are ways to get around the 59 and a half rule, and there are ways to deal with that 70 and a half rule that you're going to have as well, and ways to minimize taxes. And on the in-between years, right, and that 10-year period in between the minimum time and the earliest and the latest, gives you a lot of planning opportunity for, again, Roth conversions and other strategies that we may employ to help you minimize taxes over the long term. All right. When to take withdrawals and how much do you take? Again, not just a set answer here. It depends on your individual situation, what your income needs are, and what the best way to hit those income needs would be based on the resources available to you. All right, we're going to take a break here, and I want to, this one I want to stress a little bit. Again, not a do-it-yourself workshop here. Never is. It's to share things with you so that you're more informed, you're more educated, so you can take these things, these questions, if you will, to your advisor and say, okay, how are we set up for this, and how am I set up for that, and let's talk about ways that I can minimize taxes over the next 10, 15, 20 years or more, over my lifetime basically. And if there's legacy planning and how the tax implications may work there, the retirement accounts, how do I take money out, what's the best way to do that, how do I do that and minimize taxes at the same time. So many things to go over, and that's why getting with a good advisor to help you with this is so important. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to delve back into this some more and share with you some of these things that you need to understand, right, that's going to help you get the most out of your retirement accounts, minimize taxes, make sure that they last throughout your lifetime. You'll never have to worry about running out of money. That's a big part of this, right? That's what I hope you're going to gain from it as well. So join me here. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back on the Retirement Report.